So for some reason, I cannot help but spend money, and it's bad. So the original plan for this week was to talk about this topic, which I'm about to do anyway, but I was gonna have to wait a second because I bought PC components, didn't realize I'd spend as much as I did, and now it's gonna have to wait just a little while longer, maybe about a week or two. But anyway, let's get right into this so I can go ahead and tell you guys about what I'm talking about and put aside my poor financial decision I made. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Everyone's having a great day today. So today we're going to be talking about the good old Sport Trac. We haven't made a proper video on this thing in a hot minute where I've gone into just, I don't know, better details about stuff that's going on with it. I apologize for one thing, how absolutely dirty this thing is. It has been a minute since I cleaned it. We had a hurricane come through a couple weeks ago that was a tropical storm by the time it hit here where I live, and it just made this thing absolutely disgusting, and I just haven't taken the time to sit down and clean it again. And it's just a mess right now, and I apologize for that. But today's video we're going to be talking about something that was something that happened on the channel a few weeks ago, or not even that, about a month or two ago, that I've been meaning to deal with, but due to all sorts of different factors, emissions and tests and all sorts of other stuff, I was not able to get it done. And that was the AEM intake. For those who remember, me, Michael, went through this whole process of designing, building, and installing a custom-built AEM intake for this truck. And we wanted to do the whole 9 yards. We wanted to be properly flowing. We did measurements. We did, you know, all sorts of different, like, almost like R&D type stuff to try to get an AEM intake, or any sort of intake. Originally we were going to go K&N. I wanted to do AEM because I like AEM as a company. I like their brand. I like just their kind of their prowess in the modding community. K&N's great too, but I wanted to do something kind of different than everyone else. When it comes to these trucks, K&N's kind of the move, and with domestic cars in general, people run K&N on everything. I was like, AEM is such an import brand, and I've always been the kind of guy to kind of shy away from the stereotypical domestic build. You know, having the domestic build that's primarily inspired by domestic stuff. It's kind of lame to me. It's so overdone. So many people do it. So many people are like, oh yeah, K&N, fuel wheels, you know, big Flowmaster exhaust, you know, stuff like that. I've always done the exact opposite because that's just my personality. I love doing things that are obscure and different. I mean, why else would I build a performance build out of a truck with a 4-liter? But anyway, we went with an AEM filter, like I said, and we expected the truck to have a little bit of a growing pain with it, but not as much as it actually did. We expected the truck to run a little rough for a minute, and then as the ECU, or PCM in this one's case because it's auto, would take a second, but it would figure out what it's supposed to do, and it would start functioning properly. Boy, we were wrong. If you guys didn't watch the video already, the truck absolutely could not stand the AEM intake, and what sucks for me is at the time I had emissions coming up, and about a week or two after that had happened. At the same time, the coolant hose had busted at the time, so I had a coolant leak, and we were still in the middle of the electric radiator conversion. It was not even finalized at the time. So there was a lot going on at once in that whole time period, and it was not a good time for the Sport Trac. But we got all of it ironed out. The leak was fixed. It passed emissions. We wound up switching back to the spec D so it would pass emissions. And in the meantime, we've been trying to figure out what we're going to do about a retune. By we, I mean me. Because the truck does need a retune. Now, people are probably going to wondering, Jordan, isn't your truck already tuned? And that is true. My truck is currently tuned through Brenspeed up in Indiana. The issue is, though, is that they don't take data logs, and because they function primarily with stuff that is off the shelf, stuff like the actual K&N intake they sell for these things, which apparently don't fit. I've heard that it's like a crapshoot if you buy one that fits or not, because, you know, there were 2 engines for the 4.0, and not a lot of people are able to differentiate the job 1 from the 01 and 02s, so it's a job 2 from the 03 to 05, and so on and so forth. But anyway, back to the main topic. The issue is they don't take data logs, and they work primarily with off-the-shelf parts, not custom fab intakes like me. I did such an obscure part with this thing, building an intake for it, that is supposedly going to be one of the best on the market if it were being sold by mass producers and stuff like that. At least that's a little bit of my biased opinion there. But I'm excited for it to get done nonetheless. But anyway, Brenspeed is not one, doesn't do data logs, and that's just kind of the issue we're having is I need to have it data logged because it's a custom part. It's not something that you can buy off the shelf and people know how to tune it for. And Brenspeed obviously not being on the shelf parts, they're not going to want to mess with it anyway. So the only option would be either A, to continue going with Brent Speed and either drive this thing up to Indiana, bring the intake with me, swap it out, get it dyno tuned up there, and bring it back here. There's a lot of risk with that and a lot of money involved, because you have to pay for a dyno tune, you have to pay for the gas to get up there, and in the event it breaks, pay for towing fees to get it to and from Indiana and here. And I don't think that makes financial sense for anybody, especially because it's about a 13-hour trip for me to go up to Indiana, where Brent Speed is located, from where I am in Georgia. So yeah, definitely not the move. So what have I decided to do then? Unfortunately, that means I do have to switch tuners, which sucks because I've really enjoyed working with Brent Speed. We don't have like a sponsor relationship. They probably don't even know this channel exists, but you know, we've done, you know, a lot of tuning work with this truck. This truck's been tuned by Brent Speed for almost 2 years, and it's been great. It's ran well. I haven't had any issues to report about it. It is very sensitive to gas. That is one thing you learn right away when you're running a tuned car in general, is the octane is very specific. You can't go to a crappy gas station and you get 93 if you're tuned for 93, or it's just gonna run like dog, you know, insert 4-letter word there. And this was, you know, one of those things where I got bad gas in it a few times and it ran like crap, and I've had to kind of figure things out as I go. And that's just kind of the rules when you have a tuned car. So Unleashed Tuning, who's going to be taking over once I'm able to get the financial stuff together to start the work with them. For those who don't know, Unleashed is one of the most well-known tuners in the sport track community, and it is, you know, obviously like the big one that's recommended. I went with Brent Speed because at the time Unleashed didn't offer the SEC X4, and I really wanted the X4 in particular because I'm an idiot like that and I like to display the tuner in my dash, which is what I do, as you guys can clearly tell. A little bit stupid, but that's how I do things. And I did not want to have an X3 sitting on my dash, so I was such a stickler over that I chose Brent Speed over Unleashed, and I am still happy with how things went. Again, Brent Speed did a great job with this truck, but I wasn't expecting to run into this issue, and that's why I again went with them. Pretty much at that point, like I said, we're going to be getting this retuned through Unleashed. They're going to be able to iron out all the little issues with the intake, get this thing running right, because it was running very lean. Like if you guys saw the video, if you were able to handle the Rode mic I'm using right now, crackling halfway to death in that portion of the video where we actually drove it with the AM on, it hit lean cut very violently. So we estimate that once we are able to get this thing retuned properly with the AM on, it is going to make a good bit more power than it is right now. Are we expecting 50 to 100 horsepower? Absolutely not. Intakes don't add that much power. They barely add 5 to 10 if you're lucky. But when properly tuned, that's where the power gain comes in. Especially because we still don't have it tuned for the headers. Brent Speed, again, since that is a very obscure thing, those headers aren't even meant for this truck, they're meant for a Ranger, probably won't be able to tune for them unless it was sitting on their dyno. And so Unleashed is going to be able to take over and be like, he's got these headers on it, let's see how we can make things work. And therefore, this truck will finally be at a full-on, best case scenario, max effort NA truck. And is it going to be fast? No. I mean, these things are just inherently slow, and there's not really much you can do about it until you spend the money to boost them, which I'm not even sure I'm going to do. But I'm sure even at full bolt-on with a proper tune, full max effort NA truck, it is going to be an absolute blast. And I'm really excited for it because it's going to make this thing more fun. Because it's been a slow kind of grind to get this thing decently quick, and it's going to be worth the work in the end. I think it's going to be an absolute blast, and it'll be a nice change of pace. I've been so used to this thing being at its current power level that getting a good sized bump from getting the AEM working properly, oh boy, it's gonna be great. I'm excited for that part alone, that it's just gonna feel faster, and maybe getting passed by brand new Toyota Highlanders when I'm already accelerating won't be an issue anymore. Well, that said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this short little video. Like I said, no hate anywhere towards Brent Speed. They've done a great job with this truck, and I still recommend them if you have light bolt-ons or have parts that are more off the shelf with these trucks, such as the cane and intake and stuff like the Gibson catback, which I believe is the only catback that is not custom that is available for these trucks. They can probably help you out a lot with those, especially if you're in the Gen 2 game. If you're in the Gen 2 game, especially if you have a 4.6 Gen 2, they are the best place to go right now that I've had experience with. Of course, Unleashed is great too, but go with which company you prefer, which one you're closer to, which one you like. If if you're close to Brent Speed, go with them. If you're close to Unleashed, go with them. If you're in the middle, there's obviously different factors for people choosing tuning companies. It's like buying parts for computers. It's one of those things where it's like you have to have a preference, and I love Rend Speed. They've done great work with this, and I'm excited to get to see what Unleashed does. Unleashed has a really good reputation, so I'm really excited to see what they can do with this truck. Again, no sponsorship deals here. This is all money, which is why I said it's gonna have to wait a minute, because I need to get the last little bit of money together to get this thing properly dialed in through Unleashed. And I'm excited to get the AAM back on, because the Spec D just looks hideous, and I'm ready to get that out of here. We are gonna build a heat shield for the AM as well. That was actually a comment that I pointed out on the video, is that eventually it's gonna have a heat shield. We just haven't had time to sit down and properly fabricate one for the AM, because none of us know how to fabricate anything. So that's kind of that, you know. So anyway, with all that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content coming soon on the truck, especially as we get to that point to retune the truck. We'll do tons of videos with it, of course, and go through the whole process of getting this thing completely revamped on a new tune, with a new platform, with the new AM intake, making max effort NA power. Again, it's still going to be slow. A Toyota Highlander is probably still going to be able to outrun this thing. Hopefully not as bad this time, though. With all that said, hope you all enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great weekend. Also, stay tuned for tomorrow. We have our next live stream coming up. I left a poll in the community tab. If you guys haven't already, go vote for that if you're watching this on the day that it came out, and help us decide what stream we should do next. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everyone.